Welcome back to Beyond the Headline, everyone. It's a really exciting day to be on the show because I'm here with the co-founder and CEO of Betterment, Jon Stein. Jon, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Jen. It's great to be on the show.
Can we start out with you just introducing us to how Betterment works?
Yeah, Betterment is an automated investing service. You can think about us as advice aligned with our customers. And most of our customers come to us at the recommendation of a friend or a family member, and then they tell us about their goals. It's all online. And based on those goals and the time horizon to those goals, we recommend portfolios for them. The goals could be things like down payment on a house, or I'm saving for retirement, or saving for my kids' college. And then our recommendations will be, well, you should invest in the following portfolio, and you should contribute $5,000 a month to your house fund, and another $2,000 a month to your retirement, whatever it is, depending upon your income, your assets, your spouse's income, your full life situation. We'll give you a plan and keep you on track to that plan, saving the money for you, investing it for you, tax managing it for you, so that you get the best possible returns with the least amount of expenses and the least amount of work.
And when you discuss the innovation and all of the work that your team is doing, you always have a great analogy of the self-driving car. You know, you're not going to make all of the changes overnight, but each little one eventually is going to make it feel like magic, is what you said.
Yeah, I think the self-driving car is a great parallel because it's so tangible, because it's something that we can all relate to, and maybe even some of your viewers have seen one themselves. I think what's happening in personal finance and planning is just as revolutionary as the self-driving car. It's just something that's a little less accessible. It's not something that we typically like to think about. You know, that question of what should I do with my money? It's like a little, I have to deal with that. It's the worst. It's not something anyone wants to spend a lot of time thinking about. But it's a similar problem in a way. You're trying to get somebody from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible, taking account of lots of unexpected things that might come up along the way, and taking account of human behavior and all the irrationality and things that we do. And technology solves that problem particularly well in the personal finance and planning segment. I know we were chatting just before starting the segment about my 17-month-old daughter, and I know that when she graduates from college, she's never going to have to think about, should I open a Roth or a traditional IRA, or should I am I saving enough for retirement? Am I on track? All of those kinds of questions are just going to be answered for her and automated away, so that she doesn't have to worry about them. And that's the future that we've already built at Betterment, and it just keeps getting better every day.
I want to rewind, Jon, back to 2008 when you were starting the genesis of the idea, and people said, maybe you should try something a little less ambitious. What was it about it that you knew? You knew it was time, you knew it was right.
Yeah, back then, certainly a lot of people said, well, if this is such a great idea, how come somebody hasn't already done it? Or they would say, finance is a really tough space. There's lots of regulatory stuff to deal with, and the cost of customer acquisition is really high, and you're going to have to build a brand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these reasons not to start this business. And to me, that was always one of the kind of attractive things about it, right? It was a real challenge. And I thought, no matter how ugly it might be, kind of the harder it is, the tougher it is, the more attractive it is, because in a sense, once we get into that business, then we'll know that no other companies are going to come along behind us, because this is because of all those reasons that it's unattractive, and those kinds of things generally keep innovation out, and that means that the industry needs innovation that much more badly. It's certainly the case in financial services. I mean, nobody has gone in and rebuilt the plumbing of financial services in 10 or 20 years. And that's what Betterment has done. We've gone in and we've ripped out all the old stuff, and we've really aligned around what customers want. We've built from end to end a whole new platform focused around what should I do with my money, and doing what's best for customers who are trying to answer that question. And that has, as everyone anticipated, it's meant a lot of investment from us, and a lot of hours and labor. But I think it's been well worth it, and we're still just getting started. I mean, I think that the future is very bright right now.
And you've described for yourself personally leading the team as the best years of your life.
Yeah, I absolutely have the best job in the world for me. I was just talking to Eli, my co-founder, about this last week, and we were joking that for the two of us, this is pretty much as good as it gets, right? Like there's really there's no other job that I could do. It's not like I can just leave Betterment and I'm going to find another incredibly successful growth stage company that I can just jump in and I'll be the CEO and have such an amazing team to support me, and have so many friends on that team, and have the office that I've always dreamed of, and like in a line of business that I really care about, where we're really helping people, and in a mission that we're passionate about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I feel incredibly lucky to be here.
And I love the way you guys run your team, is having small groups of people operate like mini startups. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, we sometimes joke that our motto is small teams, full hearts, can't lose. If you have any Friday Night Lights fans, they'll recognize the saying. But small teams are important, and that's part of it. It's I think your question gets back to, it goes into kind of how do we operate as a company? How do we make sure that not just I have a great job, but that all of us, all of the 130 people on the team, can do the best work of their lives. Part of it is hiring the right people in the first place, people who are smart and passionate and open-minded. You need to get like an environment full of those types of people, and then you want to set them up to do great work. And we set them up to do great work by empowering them with information, right? We give them the full context of everything that's going on in the industry, competitively, financially, internally, from a product and process standpoint. We give them all the information that we can, and we align them around goals that are clear. And then we say, now go and execute and do your best work. Within that framework, small teams of people who are not dependent on others for resources or inputs can execute incredibly efficiently.
And then one of the ways you keep all of that going is you guys do performance reviews 2 times a year. Mm-hmm. Question 1 on that: why is that so important?
Great question. And performance reviews are something that sometimes people complain about. Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, it's performance review season. It takes so much time, and why do I do this?" I think this is one of the most important things that we do as managers, because our people, it's everything to them, right? Our employees, this is their career. They're committing their lives to this. We spend most of our waking hours at work, and it's very important to know that we're on the right track, and that we're appreciated, and that we're doing the right kinds of things to continue on and make it to the next level. And performance reviews are our chance twice a year at Betterment to really give a full, thorough review of our employees, to start with the previous 6 months and how you performed relative to your goals in that time, to hear your self-review and self-assessment of how you did, for the manager to give feedback. And then the second half of our review process is goal setting for the next 6 months. So what things do you want to work on? What is it going to take for you to get to the next level?
And so a lot of it is really that, step by step. So here's what we did last quarter. This is what we're going to do this quarter. So it's really setting the goals and checking in on them.
It's the performance reviews are about setting goals, reviewing performance against those goals, talking about 360-degree feedback. So we solicit feedback from all of your peers, and you as an employee select something like 3 to 4 people to do 360-degree feedback for you. That's then shared anonymously with you by your manager. So you get a really holistic sense of how you're doing. And that's not all that we do to give feedback. I mean, we do other things like we do a Betterment of Betterment Awards where we reward people for outstanding performance in their individual responsibilities, in their teams, and for the company overall. And we give those awards once a year to 10 to 20% of Betterment employees. So there's lots of ways that we go about giving feedback, but the performance reviews is one of the most essential.
When it comes to feedback for you personally on your journey as CEO, what's the best piece of feedback you've received?
Oh, wow. It's tough. I think back, and I think the most important thing that happened was that I got started on this path in the first place. And I got this piece of feedback when I was still a consultant, and I was thinking about should I start Betterment or not? Like I could do it sooner or later. This was back in maybe 2006, and I was just kicking it around, and somebody told me, pull the ripcord, go for it. Like you gotta do this. You gotta jump into it now. You're not getting any younger. It's not getting any easier. Go and do it. And I'm so glad I got that advice when I did, because I resolved that very day to go ahead and do it. And I think I went in later that week and said, all right, I'm going to start working on this company. And I started working part-time at my job for a little while before I ultimately left to work on Betterment. And that was tremendous advice. And I've had a lot of good advice all along the way, but that's one that stands out that really got me started, was just go for it. Right. Pull the ripcord.
It's always great advice because, as you've shared before, part of your role as CEO is just learning on the job. That's why you love it, because every day you get better and you learn what works and what doesn't. As you look back on Betterment's life and where you want to go in the future, what are some of the core leadership lessons that stand out to you?
I never knew what my job was going to be like when I started. I guess I thought back when we started the company that I was always going to be involved in the product somehow and designing that product or speccing it. Of course, now I have almost nothing to do with that. My job is leading the team. It's hiring the right folks. It's empowering all of them. It's telling the Betterment story. Not at all what I thought it was going to be. But I've come to really love all those things. And management isn't about just one thing. But I guess if I have a favorite management lesson from along the way, it's or something that I think back to maybe as much or more than anything else. It's about always having a kind of expansive or open mindset about things, that we can always get smarter. There's always a lot more that we don't know than what we do know. And whenever I hear things that align with this kind of open mindset, they resonate with me very deeply. And so this is something that I hold at my core. It comes back to asking questions first, which is something that we ask every new hire to do. I heard recently, I was touring a preschool for my daughter, and one of the teachers at the preschool said, when the kids ask us a question, we try not to answer it. We tend to recognize that when they ask a question, what they're really doing is they're giving us an opportunity to test their knowledge because they probably have a theory about how things are. And so we turn it around on them and we ask them that same question back. And, anybody else like that would just be like, okay, that's great for this preschool. But to me, it was like one of those lessons that it resonated with this idea of always asking questions and having this open mindset. And it made me think of how we like to lead here at Betterment, that we always want to be asking great questions. And even when people are coming to us and asking, and your team is asking you questions, sometimes the best thing you can do is kind of turn that around back to them and say, what do you guys think? What are you hearing? Because the best ideas are going to come from your people. And from outside, not from inside.
What's one question, Jon, that you've always wanted to be asked but nobody's ever asked you?
Oh boy, I think I've been asked everything at this point, so I don't. I don't have a good answer to that.
Well, I know I have to let you go, but I do have just one question that I have to know the answer to. Who was the first person on Betterment? Because you were number 4.
So I am probably customer ID, I don't know, 3 or 4, something like that. We have Anthony Shrouth, I think, is our very first customer. He is our chief product officer today. He was our first employee. Back in the early days, we all signed up and we rebooted the site a number of times, right? This is before we'd actually launched publicly. And sometime, we would all practice signing up and test the sign-up flow and make sure that all the processes worked. One of those times we just decided, that's it. We're not going to redo the site ever again. This is gonna stick. And whatever the order was that we signed up that day is the order that is forever memorialized in the database.
All right, I had to know that before we go. What can we expect from your team in 2016? What are you working on?
The most exciting thing in 2016 is Betterment for Business, our 401k launch in January. That's launching with the first customers, and we're incredibly excited about that product. Lots of excitement about that in the team and externally. We're also investing a lot in advice. We continue to improve the advice that we're delivering to our customers. You'll see more and more done with the aggregation that we now have in the accounts, and that's what I keep an eye on for 2016.
Well, I know we're all excited. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your work with us, your journey, and how everything works at the organization. It was a pleasure to spend time with you.